The Central Bank of Nigeria continues to tweak its foreign exchange market policies and actions. On Thursday, the financial regulator introduced a new FX verification portal for exports and imports. We're going to dig in for more on this with Kelvin Emmanuel, policy analyst and CEO at Dairy Hills Limited in our Abuja studios. Kelvin, it's good to see you on the Arise Exchange. Good evening to you. So, what are your views on the reforms being pursued in the FX market by the CBN since the administration took office May the 29th?
Good evening, Rotus. Thank you so much for having me on the Arise Exchange. Well, to be honest with you, Rotus, you know, we've discussed these policy reforms over time, even before the current president took over. In my opinion, I think the attempted unification of the exchange rate, I'll call it attempted because you still have black market premium that measures fair value to spot rate at somewhere between 12 and 15%, is good. It's been lauded globally by stakeholders, for the foreign governments, foreign investors, stakeholders in Nigeria, also the private sector. It's in the right direction because before the attempted unification and devaluation of the Naira that has seen government earn more revenues from exchange difference, you had a 63% black market premium. And the government was losing anywhere around $320 to $350 million monthly, subsidizing the FX markets in Nigeria. But now you see that the government is getting more revenues. But then there's a problem. And the problem is that the fact that we're not operating a fixed peg anymore, you have a managed floats, the supply is hampered. You have issues with the FX reserves or balance of payments that are encumbered from issues like outstanding balance of payments and repo transactions that's being owed to external asset managers to the Central Bank of Nigeria. And the fact that FDIs and FPIs are not coming in with the devaluation or attempted unification and the establishment of a non-deliverable forwards markets in Nigeria, there are still issues that stand as impediments to the success of this direction that we're on.
Now, are there any significant changes in these FX policies and actions, you think?
Well, you know, to be honest with you, the move of the NNPC to borrow money, for example, from a multilateral bank, the Afro-Exim Bank, development finance loans are usually between 6 and 9%. The term sheets, NNPC releasing that term sheet in National Assembly, and then it's going out to the public for them to see what the terms of the deal is going to tell us if it was a good deal or bad deal. But considering the fact that right now, Nigeria needs between 12 and $15 billion in the FX markets to calm down the pressure and bring back the parallel market rate, which is the real rate, because the I&E rate is not the real rate. And I'll tell you why it's important, for example, for the Central Bank of Nigeria to always collapse the I&E window into the parallel market. Whenever there is a difference between fair value and the spot rates, companies that export and bring in net export proceeds in Nigeria, they divert their export proceeds to other countries, and then they find a way to manipulate the markets to the parallel market, which the central bank governor alluded to in one of his statements. So you can see, for example, that between May and August, you've seen an increase of net export proceeds in the I&E window from $468 million to $2.55 billion, which is positive. But when the black market premium keeps rising above the global recommended average of 5%, you're going to see a diversion of flows, and it will defeat the purpose that was initially intended. But given where we are right now, there needs to be temporarily, urgently, you need an inflection of 10 to 12 billion or $15 billion into the FX markets. On the long-term basis, they say they are planning to sell government assets. Yeah, I don't think financialization of Nigeria's natural resources or assets, like borrowing money against future crude oil production and using it to attempt to placate the lack of liquidity in the FX market, is a sustainable solution. At best, you're not going to see the rate stay at between 780 and 810 for more than 3 or 4 months. So yes, it is doused to tension, and yes, it's not going to impact on the price of PMS, because the fact that the prices of the exchange rate is coming down to somewhere around 800 or 780 means that PMS prices are most likely not going to go up within the next 3 months or so. It is a temporary relief, but the government needs to think ahead and start to look at the long-term problems of the fiscal side of the economy.
Well, we have to go live to ECOWAS for an update on the outcome of their meeting with what to do in Niger, but we appreciate your insights as always. Kelvin Emmanuel, CEO, Dairy Hills Limited. Kelvin, thank you very much for talking to us about the FX markets and the reforms that need to take place and the much needed supply that needs to come into Nigeria.